Welcome to Leadership Speak, an advanced Toastmaster Club for leadership development. We are one of the top five clubs globally. I am Nelly, your sergeant at arms of the meeting. We provide a supportive and a positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Leadership Speak is a premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club, focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raise, so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. Our Toastmaster of the day, who will lead our meeting, is Toastmaster Rashmi Udeshi, a dynamic thought-led leader, club president, and district finance manager, recognized for translating ideas into actions and vision into meaningful results. Through it, she brings clarity, creativity, and vibrant energy to every space she leads. Let's give a big enthusiastic welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Rashmi Udeshi.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests from around the globe. Welcome to today's theme at Leadership Speak, which is about thought leadership. A phrase we often hear, but rarely pause to reflect on the intention. Everyone has ideas, but are these ideas trusted? And the difference between the trust and ideas that create impact is what thought leadership is. Leadership that creates impact. At the core of it, there's one question. Are the ideas trusted? And more importantly, is it something that we can rely on? Are they valid? This brings to the point that there's lots of noise around and ideas are floated, but all the ideas are not trusted. And only those ideas that are trusted and bring an impact is what a thought leader can take us to. True leaders, they don't just share ideas. They turn them into action. They share actionable ideas and deliver results that can be replicated. The four core principles of thought leadership is it comes with a unique perspective. The ideas that has originality and those that are backed by expertise and comes from a knowledgeable person, and they are strengthened by execution, by replicable results, and they are grounded with connection and built in trust. Because influence is not what we say, it is built on what consistently works. And that is where many go wrong. They chase visibility. But visibility without the execution, there's no credibility. And if credibility is not there, validity is not there, they are not trusted. So a true thought leader puts validity before visibility, because visibility without validity erodes trust. Because in the end, It is not about being heard, but it is about being trusted. This thought leader comes with uniqueness and is an expert and, and comes with ideas that are create trust and impact. And as we move to today's meeting, we will observe, yes, these ideas that bring clarity, credibility, and consistency. And the thought leadership is demonstrated in these ideas. And today, let's hear from our toast leader. To begin with, let us invite our Toastmaster for the toast. Toastmaster Nocawe Kosi. Nocawe Kosi is an environmentalist who is passionate about sustainability and is committed to develop herself into a self-directed, thoughtful leader. Let's welcome Toastmaster Nocawe Kosi on the virtual stage. Toastmaster Nocawe Kosi.
Greetings, fellow Toastmasters and our I'd like to take this moment and reflect on what we are, but don't give ourselves much time and intention to develop. That is, earlier in my career, I had an encounter with a colleague who was a magnet for questions, not because of her title, clarity, insightfulness, and consistency. She didn't always give immediate answers, but she asked better questions. She was insightful in the field, and she gave perspectives that moved others forward. For me, that was a thoughtful leader. I got curious, inspired, and I decided to read deep in my field, to get ideas and learn about trends and changes that were happening in the field. To my surprise, my colleagues started to come to me, not just for tasks, but for input, perspective, and guidance. That taught me that thoughtful leadership is not about being the loud voice in the room, but being the useful one. I learned that it takes curiosity, insightfulness, the willingness to share what we learn on the journey with others, for us and for them to be thoughtful leaders. Thoughtful leadership doesn't start with being recognized and celebrated, but it starts with intentionality. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I believe your glasses are already charged. I kindly request you to open your cameras and mute your microphones to thought leadership.
Leadership.
Thank you so much. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Nocawe. I loved your story and the intentional way you have grown into a thoughtful leader. Toastmaster Nocawe, thank you. I run this meeting with an incredible team that supports me. And now, to help us to stay precise and disciplined, we have our timer. And let me invite our timer, Toastmaster Irene Saidia, to introduce the timing guidelines. What she told me about thought leadership. Thought leadership is a quiet discipline of testing, living, and refining ideas until they become something others can genuinely trust. Let's welcome Toastmaster Irene with a
Thank you,
round of applause.
Madam Toastmaster. I will be your timer for today's meeting, and I will time each speaker according to the agenda and signal using the virtual backgrounds as green, yellow, and red. And I will, at the end of each segment, I will post the timing results in the chat. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Irene. Next, we move on to our grammarian, who shapes our words of the day. And tonight, our grammarian is Hmok. When asked what she thought about thought leadership, she said she believes thought leadership is earned through consistent action and not just compelling ideas. When ideas are tested, refined, and shared in ways others can apply, they become a source of influence and trust. Let's welcome with a round of applause Toastmaster Halim. Toastmaster Halim.
But she's frozen.
I lost my internet. Thank you. Madam, can you see me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters and guests, as grammarian, it is my responsibility to pay close attention to all speakers, listening carefully to their language usage. I will take note of any improper language as well as any outstanding word, quote, saying, or thought. As grammarian, it is also my duty to introduce the word of the day. And today's meeting the word is credibility is a noun, which means the quality of being trusted and believed. An example of using the word is her credibility comes from years of delivering results, not just talking about ideas. Each speaker is encouraged to use the word of the day. I will give the grammarian's report when called upon during the meeting and also report on the usage of the word of the day. I will also post the word of the day in the chat box for everyone to view. Thank you. Madam Toastmasters.
Thank you to our grammarian Toastmaster Halim. Now I would like to connect with our most important people in our room, our esteemed guests. A warm welcome to all our guests, and we will invite you to sign our guest book and stay connected. And we will reach out to you soon after the meeting or during the end of the meeting. At Leadership Speak, we are a global community of self-directed leaders where ideas are practiced and not yet presented. And now we will move on to our keynote speaker and to introduce the purpose of our keynote speaker, Paramjit Singh. I will invite his evaluator, Rozy Rana, to share the purpose of his speech. Over to you, Toastmaster Rozy Rana, DTM Rozy Rana.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. It is my pleasure to be introducing Paramjit Singh. Paramjit Singh has built his credibility here at Leadership Speak because he has delivered not one, not two, but at least 3 keynote speeches. And today, that's what he will be doing, delivering a longer keynote type presentation as the education speaker. He is working on the professional speakers path, visionary communication path, and the project that he's working on is professionally speaking. I look forward to your speech. His objective is to define and speak to thought leadership with clarity and impact. Back to you.
Thank you, DTM Rozy, our charismatic leader in District 1 and 4 also. Thank you. Let me introduce our speaker. Our keynote speaker, Paramjit Singh. He is 5 years as a Toastmaster from Dubai, working as Design Development Manager, NLP trainer and growth mindset coach, aspiring to be DTM in next 6 months. Let's welcome Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Noise to voice. Noise to voice. Paramjit Singh. Over to you. The virtual stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the day. Let me share my screen. Please let me know if you all can see this. It's okay, fine for everyone to see the screen, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we can see.
Thank you very much. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. You all know my name is Paramjit Singh, but still, just to reiterate, I will again say my name is Paramjit Singh. Because in India, it is not a name, it is a shared resource because girls can have a name Paramjit, boys can have a name Paramjit. And while growing up, I had so many people in my girls in my class, and whenever the teacher will say Paramjit, and most of the time, 5 of us will be turning out, will turn around, and 2 would respond, and 1 will get the punishment he has not done anything. So I learned very early in my life that life is unfair, and second, identity is confusing. But here is a deeper question. When everyone has the same name, how do you stand out? Now, in our today's scenario, if we move fast forward to today, we just don't share names. We share opinions because everyone has something to say in meetings, in social media, in WhatsApp groups, even in elevators. But there is a real challenge. who is going to be heard. And that is the difference between voice and noise. What is noise and what is voice? And that is what is about thought leadership, from where it begins, that how you are being heard. So today I will take you through a simple but yet powerful framework called what is thought leadership. What is the matter more than ever? Why? Who can become a thoughtful leader? As well as when and how you can step into it. And along the way, I invite you not just to listen, but to reflect on your own voice. So, what is a thought leadership? Let us go a little deeper into it. It is not about being an expert, or you are having followers or having a posting content, but thought leadership is none of these. Thought leadership is the ability to influence how people think, how they decide, and how they work with the true clarity and originality. Let me simplify that in very simple words. If you inform, people will gain knowledge. If you teach, people will gain skills. But if you shift their perspective, you become a thought leader. That is from where the journey of thought leader starts. When you shift the perspective, you become a thought leader. Now, thought leader is a one leader who can influence your thinking and in the regular basis and with a clarity and with a consistency. Now, the thoughtful leadership has three core pillars. Number one is clarity. It means when there is something complex, to make it simple so that people can understand. I was just listening to one lady who has a book that is called God is One, but people are not able to understand. Then she has changed that book and simplified for everyone to read it very clearly. So the clarity becomes very clear. Another thing is originality. Means doesn't mean that you just take something and just do it again, reframe or something, do it. But basically, you refine and then reframe, and then that is what is required. Means you have your own original ideas which can really influence the people who can think, which make them think and act on this. And that is another thing which is very important is impact. That means impact drive change means you don't have only agreement, but your message, your suggestions, your idea, they become something which shift the change in you. That is very important. And now I will share something which in my life, it was 1992, 93. Early in my career, I was sitting with fixed managers in the Nestle. I had one idea, a very good one. I wrote it very well because that those time the electronic weighing machines were not there. So I thought of if we can develop them here, we are buying from Switzerland or we are buying from other countries. I had a full-fledged program with me, but in the meeting I stayed quiet because I was thinking, oh, if they reject it, if they feel, oh, this is something not good, or it sounds silly also. What if I'm wrong? So I waited. And then someone else spoke about the same thing. And I thought, oh my God, it's the same thing what I'm going to share with them. It was my idea, same idea, but less clarity. And it was avoided. He got the rewarded. That day I realized something very powerful. That is, The clarity, the silent clarity is not going to help you. It rewards only if you express the clarity. And more importantly, ideas don't create impact. Expression makes a difference. You have to express. For example, I'll show you just one. There's something has changed in my computer. Okay. Just give me one minute. Let us talk about the how our leader shifts the perspective. We all know one leader, thoughtful leader, Simon Sinek. He was not a person who invented leadership, but he asked one better question: why? Why we are doing it? That one shifted moved organizations from what they do to why they do it. That is 100% a thought leadership, something new. He changed the total perspective of the industry by working on why, not only what we are doing. So you have to understand and you check with yourself, do you understand ideas or do you shape them? Now, why we want to have leadership, why it matters today. Now, every day we are living in an age of overload. Emails, documents, notifications, opinions, content, but very little clarity. And there is the paradox. The more information we have, the harder it becomes to think clearly and give accountability. That is where thought leaders stand out. They don't add noise, they remove the confusion. So improve how it matters, it builds trust and it also improves the decision making because your clarity is where you're clear now what you have to decide. And that is the one which drives innovation in everyone. That is what is required. If you see, I will say that clarity is the new leadership currency. Unless you are clear for your thoughts or your ideas, whatever you say, you are not being trusted. Clarity is very important, that you're clear about whatever you are talking about and what you are sharing with people. That is very, very important. Now, another leader, very good leader, Steve Jobs. When everybody was doing and complicating the things and adding features, he was the one person who started removing them. When other was making complicating, he was making it simplifying. And that simplicity changed the industries. I still remember in our life we used to have a VCR and so many of video players and so many of functions which we were not using. When later on, when you see now the video players are coming with 2 or 3 switches only. Because the moment they made it simplify so that that idea goes to everyone and everyone can use this. So deeper insight, thought leaders do 3 things. Number one, they change the assumptions. They challenge the assumptions. They simplify complexity and they create direction. That is something very important. Now, in Toastmasters also, if you see, it is not you remember the speaker who has speak on very fluently or he has done something wonderful, but the person who has touched your heart, a leader, a speaker who touched the heart, who could give you a message, you say, wow, I have never heard it before. It's the same thing, maybe small gratitude, but the way it is presented and the way it is given to the people is something very great. So that is very important. That means it's not just shape your thinking. Someone else, if you don't change your thinking, somebody will change. So better you become your own leader and one who makes you pose, think, and the way it is said. Now, the question is, today's scenario is very difficult to understand, and who can be a thought leader? Okay, you think you require to be very senior? No. You need a title? No. And you need an expertise? No. Or you have a confidence? Nothing. The only thing is thought leadership is about the position, not about the position. It is about the perspective. Let us talk about a one example. Malala Yousafzai. She didn't have power. She didn't have any much of education. She had the only thing was clarity and courage and one idea about women empowerment, the girls' empowerment. And that changed the world because she was the one who changed the myths to the truths. Means the myth was you need experience. No, you just need insight. She was very young. You need confidence. No, you just need courage. And you just not need permission. You just need responsibility. So for long, I was waiting. I was also doing nothing I don't want to do because I was not able to share my ideas. Waiting to be ready, okay, waiting to be confident, or even waiting to be perfect. But one day, I realized that it just waiting is just another way of doing procrastination. It's a procrastination in disguise. And this was where I was not able to share my ideas with them. So that means thought leader doesn't mean that you have to be 100% confident. It is the only thing who spoke, come in the forefront and share their ideas. Now, how to become a powerful leader? Now, thoughtful leader. Okay, another one I've talked about, Maharaj Yusufzai. Now, how to become a powerful leader? I have got, a, for my name only, I planned and I made a synonym. Param means pause and observe deeply. Means whenever something is just don't reflect immediately, don't react immediately. Think of it, find out what are the different possibilities in this particular situation is. And thought leaders don't react immediately. They wait and ask, observe patterns, and then they work on those patterns. Better they think of the question. Now, the second one is ask better questions. Better question leads to better thinking. So rather than asking, what can we do? What should we do? But what is missing? What is missing? That is very important. Third one is how to reframe. The R is for reframe. How you can think of an idea, use it, and refine it, and again reframe it so that it presents in a different way. And the next A, certainly related to this, is articulate clarity, and you present it with the clarity because that is very important. The clarity makes everything. And another thing which is very much important is M is multiply, means refine, repeat, refine, reinforce, try again, do it again. Because thought leadership is just not for a moment. It is a consistency over time. Like Elon Musk, he always have, you love him or not, but he was always having follow conversation. He reshapes them. He just doesn't follow conversations. And you see the way he has changed the whole industry in a different areas of life. That is what is very important, and he has worked on that. And his ideas are always with very clear messages, with clarity, and that he has proven it again and again. Again and again, he has proven that what is a thought leadership, and that's what he is being known for. Okay, now in my journey, slowly, fear actually in the beginning never disappeared, but something emerged, that the desire to contribute. Because when I see all of them, I see that even if I'm not very clear, but my clarity, whatever level I can create, I talk with them and I contribute with people. And one day, my contribution became bigger than my fears. And that day, I started growing, and my voice started to grow. This is what is a thought leadership. Now, I would like to have an audience activity to understand what is thought leadership. So I will ask, request everyone, you can write down if you have pen or copy, you can write it on the paper, or if you don't, you can write it on the computer also. Think of one area of your life, maybe like work, leadership, or communication, which you believe in, you firmly believe in, but have not shared. I give you 40 seconds to 40 seconds, or maybe more than that. You can use 1 minute to write one idea of which you are not shared, but you want to share. I have one idea for the leadership speak. Like I want that we should be in. Now I'm sharing with you that we should have interaction with our guests with before GEO starts. So this is my idea because of that they are here and we can talk to them. So you write down one idea, just write down, but after 60 seconds, I will give you some little more instruction. And please participate in the exercise if possible. It will give you something new perspective of thought leadership. Now, if you have written down, now express it in one, of course, one sentence, and now change it now with more clarity, make it more stronger, or say it again. Write down whatever you've written, try to make it in a way that it becomes clear, stronger, shorter. I'm not able to see the screen, so I'm not sure who is or ever is practice is participating in the activity. But I feel if somebody can, ever somebody want to share what what changed from the first sentence and now the second sentence. You can unmute and speak because I may not be able to see the chat also. Like we have one idea, we written down with a clarity. Now you will have more clarity and it make it more stronger. Anybody want to share? Anyone? Oh,
Can I
hold
do
your hand.
that, Param?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Dinesh Sharma here.
Then Mr. Dinesh. Yeah.
How are you? First of all,
I'm
thank
fine.
you for such an inspiring presentation. The first thing that I wrote is in the last couple of years' time, I spread myself too thin. Okay, not being able to focus on one activity, spreading myself too thin. Then I reframed it. And I said, focus on one, build it, then move to the next one. So rather than putting my hand into 5 different things, focus on one, build it, then move to the one. So thank you for such an inspiring presentation so far. I loved it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Dinesh. And I think if you see, your idea didn't change, your expression did. That is what made the change. And that is thought leadership in action. That is what is thought leadership. Now let's come back. Now a room full of Paramjits again, and all speaking, all bleeding, all mob. But one day, this Paramjit Singh decided, I refuse to become a common voice. I become my own voice. And that day, I started to grow. So, my dear friends, Toastmasters, in your next meeting, in your next communication, just don't come to participate. Speak to influence. Share one idea. Challenge one assumption. Create one shift that will change and give you more credibility. Because The world doesn't need more noise. The world needs more clarity. And if your voice is not missing, it is just waiting for your courage. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the team.
To Paramjit Singh, what an insightful transformation from noise to clarity. Your story of Paramyan, your personal insight leaves me to narrate my story. One of the moments when I saw the noise everywhere, and this noise was something related to Toastmasters. It was about the mentors. We were lacking a structure where a mentorship is a laid foundation. So I laid the foundation to the mentorship program in our club, and this also inspired me to curate the book, the Toastmasters Mentorship Blueprint. And this is now replicable. Year after year, we follow the pattern. We have a mentorship facilitator, and that's exactly what our Paramjit Singh shared about the thought process, the thought that makes an impact. So, whatever little some thoughts are there, you have your unique proposition and make it, turn it into an impactful idea. And that's what thought leadership is about, my dear fellow Toastmasters and guests. And now, once again, to our guest, whom we say Aditi Devo Bhava, which means guests are like God, treat them well. And let's have the guest book for our guests, and we look forward to them signing it up. Thank you. And now we move on to our prepared speeches where ideas are shaped, tested, and demonstrated. Let's welcome our first speaker, Rivero. DTM has been in Toastmasters since January 2012 and one of the chartered member of Leadership Speak. Today's theme emphasizes the importance of providing clear, valid, and measurable results that are hallmark of effective leadership. And to introduce him, his speech purpose, I will invite his evaluator, Terrence Wurr. Please welcome Terrence Wurr.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I have the pleasure of evaluating the speech by Ray Rivero, distinguished Toastmaster Ray Rivero. And this speech comes from the Persuasive Influence Path, and it's a project titled Leading in Difficult Situations. The purpose of this project is to enable Ray to practice strategies for adapting to unexpected changes to a well-developed plan. It challenges the speaker not only to present a clear and structured plan, but also to demonstrate flexibility, composure, and creativity when that plan is disrupted. This project is delivered in two parts, and I will also evaluate the two areas. So the first segment, Ray is going to present a well-prepared plan, and in this case, he's focused on guiding his son's preparation for college over the next 2 years. The emphasis here on my evaluation especially will be on clarity, structure, and how effectively the plan can be understood and followed. In the second part, he will invite several members to introduce unforeseen disruptions to the plan. He will then respond to each situation impromptu. This portion will assess his ability to remain poised, think critically under pressure, and provide practical and creative adjustments to to the challenges presented. As I evaluate, I will be paying close attention to clarity and adherence to the plan, as well as how effectively he navigates those unexpected disruptions, especially his composure, adaptability, and the viability of his response. I wish you all the best in this presentation. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Terrence. And now let's welcome Ray Rivero. Ray Rivero, what's next for Teen in the Bubble? What's next for the Teen in the Bubble? Ray Rivero. The stage is yours.
My son is in his second year of secondary school. In 2 years, he will have finished and graduated. And you know what happens? Pop! That bubble that he's in disappears. And now, what's the next stage? Fellow Toastmasters, especially parents who have children who are or have or are about to get into the next stages of their life, our primary plan as my son's, as being the father of my son and his mom, what is he going to do next? We assume that it's going to be secondary education, but it's more important that he prepares and gets ready to be on his own. Ideally, we will focus on preparing for college or university. So what do we do first? How do we set up this plan for this boy in the bubble? Well, he does have interests. We start with his high school. There's 3 things that are involved: his academics, his activities, and also his athletics. First, his academics. He does have favorite subjects. He does have subjects he doesn't like, and that helps us narrow a little bit of what he would like to do. He also has activities. I'm not talking about playing video games online with his friends. I'm talking about something that really stands out, that he doesn't mind exploring. He was enrolled in a culinary arts class. That means he knows more than just cooking, but running a restaurant. It didn't work out, but at least he explored it. He wants to go into forensics because he wants to do some problem solving. So those are some hints as examples. There's also activities. And he also wants to do swimming. He's on a swim team right now, and he's considering if he wants to pursue that at college or university. So we do have some ideas of what he likes to do, but we also realize that there's more that meets the eye when he wants to pursue additional opportunities to help him lead into the next stages of his life. Because one thing is, when he bursts out of that bubble, he will come face to face making those adult-like decisions for him to continue on into his life. So my wife and I looked at our past experience when we were his age. My wife has her experiences going to university. I have my experiences for the same. Some of the things we liked, other things not so much. So what did we do? We figured out what should our son focus on based on our past experiences. And that's what comes up with a plan, starting with his interests, finding those universities that can meet those interests by selecting a major or 2 that he could actually pursue a degree in, and then coming to what's known as the infamous campus visit, which means that he goes to a particular university, goes to an orientation, and asks, what is around here that will help me flourish in this environment? Will the academics help me get a position after graduation? Are there professional, personal, and supportive activities that'll help me, like student services? Like, could I have a gap year? Could I even study at another university for a semester? Things like that. So there's several things that go on that are going to be involved when we make the most of our campus visits. And we want to have the facilities. And if he wants to get into athletics, we found out the hard way that recruiters love swimmers. They want to have them on teams. And so that means that if he wants to get on the team, how will it fit the rest of his environment? And finally, he makes his decision. How are we going to pay for it? Well, we have been saving money since he was born, but we can always use additional financial help, and we have to explore that as well. So that's part of the plan. In the United States, that means we fill out financial aid forms so that he can apply for scholarships and loans, but we also want to be sure that when he graduates, he's not so much deeply in debt that he'll never get out of it. So in conclusion, there is a lot of information out there depending upon what my son wants to do, which, by the way, he hasn't decided yet. But when he does, we're going to be there. We want to be sure that if he does get overwhelmed, because if his parents are overwhelmed, what about the poor guy? He just got out of the bubble, and now he can't set up his own life. So that's what we want to do. We want to help him based on his interests, based on our experience, and on overall support, because this is what this young man is going to need, because he's going to make the first big decision that'll guide his life. And we want to be there to help this teen who just came out of the bubble and set up his new one. And that is our ultimate goal for the plan, to help him live independently, because we don't want him in the house at 40. And now I've asked 3 volunteers to help me disrupt this plan, because every good plan, like iron in a forge, needs to be refined. So I'm going to ask Sandra to present me a question based on what she heard today. Sandra.
Thanks for a really well laid out plan. I'm wondering how much your son is involved in the plan. This is an awful lot of parent analyzing, and my own grandsons are so young when they're finishing that 4th year versus the 5 years. That gap year is probably more impact than actually getting to college and working. How are you putting just as much thought into a gap year, or really seeing the impact that could have?
Sandra, thank you for that question. And yes, I am definitely for a gap year, but it isn't going to be like a gap year where you just sit around the house and play video games. We want to have a purpose that will lead to a possible course of study. Maybe you want to do something that saves the world, or something in between. But it'll be his decision, consulting with us on what he would like to do to overall make a better person out of himself. And if he needs extra time because he hasn't decided what he wants to do, that gap year will help as well. Thank you for that question, Sandra. My next disruptor is Robin Stone. Robin.
Hi, Ray. You're certainly doing some intensive parenting here. And I had 4 children of my own, so then it becomes much more complicated and financially quite difficult. So my question to you, I suppose, is, life happens. It really does. We get sick. or we have other kinds of emergencies, or there are other family needs. And you've put aside a fairly tidy sum, I can imagine. But what if family priorities change and that money is no longer available in the way you envisage it to be?
Thank you very much, Robin. And you're right. Life happens. We just can't put all our eggs in one basket. So all I can do, fortunately, I had about 20 to 40 years to kind of plan this out. Though, and I have to admit, that the first 10 years, I have no idea what I was doing. I was just more interested in just getting a snack from 7-Eleven than I am planning the future. He is going to be more or less the same thing. All I can do is help him think ahead, 2 to 3 to 4 steps ahead, and just have him consider it and think about it for the long run. First of all, plan for himself. Plan his financial future by saving up. And we've been trying to implement that lesson since he was born. But of course, the moment he sees a toy, and now that he's old enough to see his girlfriend, I just have to be careful to let him know that there will be more tomorrows for you, and you have to look ahead. That means you got to plan your future. That means there's going to be surprises that you'll never see coming. But if you save enough and invest enough and give yourself the time to let it grow, you'll have a better chance. And that goes for any type of financial investment, whether it's college savings, retirement, a new house, new car, whatever. Thank you, Robin. And finally, Vinod, thank you for coming. And I know I put you on the spot, but thank you very much for your help.
Thank you, Ray. And as I said, just 2 minutes before the meeting, if you say it's fine for me, the question that I would like to ask you is, I like the word Robin used, intense parenting. I thought it was only in India, but now I can see that it's all over. Kids are kids for parents everywhere. Uh, I would put it in two part. What if your son comes tomorrow and says, Dad, I went to a seminar and I feel that universities are no more relevant today. Okay, and I don't want to study. Second, he would say, I want to travel the world for a year. What would you do?
Okay, you got two parts. One, I would say to him, sooner or later, I'm not going to be here anymore. What then? The fact is that you have this ideal version of the world, but then reality has a way of sneaking in and taking the rug from under you. You have to plan ahead. There will be surprises that you'll never see coming. And the second thing about traveling the world, please do. There are a lot of things out there, places to see, things to do and visit. Explore that. Improve your mind. The best thing that we can do is to encourage you to do that. I mean, your mom and I are doing that. She just came back from Europe. And one of my goals is to go visit Antarctica because nobody else in my neighborhood has done that. And I'm curious enough to see how big an emperor penguin really is. So please explore the world. Please prepare for the tomorrow that you don't know how it's going to come. And most importantly of all, mom and dad aren't going to be here forever. We got your back. And most importantly, we're ready to help you become the independent person you deserve to be. And I want to thank my three disruptors for their very thought-provoking questions. And I'll turn it over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. A round of applause for Rivero. And you have definitely touched the most important, relatable situation when my son was also in that spot about 6 years back. And we also thought the same thing. What's next for the teen in the bubble? So 100%, I really have empathize with your situation, and you handled the disruptors very well. Thank you. Clarity under pressure strengthens credibility. And that is where thought leadership grows. And now we will move on to our second speaker, Wahiga Gichinga. Wahiga Gichinga says, a thoughtful leader is always learning, bringing informed and practical perspectives, especially in uncertainty. And now, to introduce the purpose of a speech, I will invite her evaluator, Nellie Jane. Please welcome Nellie Jane on the stage.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the day. Good day, my fellow Toastmasters, and to our wonderful guest. And a special day to you, Wahiga. Wahiga's speech today falls under the path of presentation mastery. She will be presenting her Level 5 speech, Reflect on Your Path, which marks the culmination of her journey in this path. In this 10 to 12-minute speech, she will share to us her personal growth, insights, and key takeaways from completing the path, offering us a glimpse into the lessons she has gained along the way. And as her evaluator, I'll also be focusing on how well her speech flows and the overall impact it creates on the audience. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you to Nellie. And now let's welcome Wahiga Gichinga, who is about to finish her pathway. Wahiga Gichinga, through a different lens. Through a different lens. Wahiga Gichinga, over to you.
Reflecting on the path presentation mastery takes me back to a philosophy class in my undergraduate program. This day, we're discussing a story called The Allegory of the Cave. It's from the book The Republic, written by one Plato, a Greek philosopher. To let you in into the story, one of the mentees of Plato, Socrates, was engaging the brother of Plato. It went in like this. Imagine a group of people who have been confined to the same space, a cave, since their childhood. They're chained together such that their heads can't move, and they're only fixated to the wall in front of them. There's a wall behind them, and next to it is a platform with puppeteers who keep casting shadows on the wall. Now, the prisoners every day just talk and try to interpret the shadows and the voices they hear, assuming the voices are coming from the shadows. And then one day, one of the prisoners is forced out of the cave. And when they start the journey out towards the outside, the fire hits their eyes and they feel a burning sensation. Then comes light from the mouth of the cave, which also irritates their eyes. And when they're completely outside the cave, they get blind from the sunlight. They stay like this for some time. Then with time, they start seeing things differently. They get different perspectives. They see life from a different platform, create new realities that if they're given a choice about going back to the cave, they would not even consider. Now, going through my path presented me with a similar experience. Looking at myself today, how I see myself, see the world, and see possibility is from a totally different perspective. I see it through a different lens. So I have benefits from going through the presentation mastery, where I've gone out of several caves. And like I said, the first one is perspective. What Toastmasters does is they give us a program. Like now I had a path presentation mastery. So well defined in such a way that each project builds on the other. And so you compound your growth. In addition to that is the environment, which is guided by some core values to ensure that it is a positive environment that encourages growth. There are two things that come from that environment. And one is insight that come from the people in it. The evaluators, the mentors, the leaders. My encounter with them pointed direction, they pointed to my strengths, pointed to blind spots that I needed to work on and transform myself. But then there is the other aspect of companionship, where in this path, there are people walking alongside you. They're your peers too. And them walking alongside you means you're walking the same journey. So you can see them dream as you dream. You can see them fail as you fail, doubt themselves, win, which encourages you to walk your own path. Above all, it is the different stories they share, the different perspectives each gives from where they sit and see the world. And what I realized, or what has happened to me, is having this experience with an open mind can't leave you the same. Now, this is not the cave I came to escape from when I came to Toastmasters. I came to Toastmasters because I am naturally a silent person and I wanted to be able to express myself. I had just transformed from an accountant to a trainer. Naturally, I'm an introvert, which means I can be in a room full of noise and I'm quiet and at ease. But now, training required me to be able to challenge people, challenge their ideas, inspire, persuade them to change. And silence couldn't exactly handle that. And yes, so here I am. I joined Toastmasters and I'm here with the presentation mastery path. And what going through that experience, what has enabled me to do is be able, for example, to look at an audience, understand them, understand their needs, be able to craft a speech that meets that need objectively. With it, modulate my speech, my voice, to be able to be effective in translating the emotion of the moment and body language for impact. I don't take that for granted because it's not been always that way. When I joined Toastmasters, I was shy. I couldn't stand in front of an audience. And a lot of times, I know I speak first. I just imagine I spoke faster. And pacing around the stage, just to calm myself, the anxiety that I was holding, and sometimes maybe tactfully avoiding eye contact. And the gift of Toastmasters in terms of the program and the people in it is they help you walk out of their confusion constructively as you hold yourself stably to a state where you can converse, you can be calm, and you can be able to deliver without putting it on your face that you're a pacing red flag. They help you build your credibility. Now, moving on to the third benefit I have had from my path is I got to know my voice. Each project I engaged in, each speech I gave, every evaluation, every mentorship session opened me up to me in a way I hadn't seen myself before. And with time, with consistency, I've found myself gravitating toward that natural part of me that I feel now safe with because I have accepted to connect with. And what is interesting is this. I find that when you connect with moments, when you connect with yourself, it becomes quite more easy to connect with others. And I find myself home speaking on matters about leadership, about identity, and confidence. And for benefits I got into when I engaged in presentation mastery is I got to write. Earlier on, I had challenges even crafting a speech with a purpose. And I'm lucky to have had mentors who give me no room to play small. And as such, they held me to a certain standard. Now, what that meant is that there are speeches that I had to rewrite several times. And I would imagine that there are moments, for example, when one of my mentors would, pick up a random sentence in that paragraph of a speech and say, I think this speech would be more you if you started with this sentence. And what that means is, without much negotiation, is I'm rewriting the speech. I'm starting with some random sentence, means I have to think through it afresh and bring a whole structure of a speech into space. And that got me to fall in love with writing. What that has done to me is that today I am in the process of publishing my second book. So looking back at the journey that presentation mastery has been to me is it has helped me embrace a part of me, one that I didn't know existed. And as much as I came for one thing, I have carried with buckets many more things. And I'm looking at myself, looking at the journey so far and wondering if I can maintain the attitude and an open mind, what can be possible. And the challenge to myself, which I extend to the audience today, is when you're taking the next speech, when you're taking the next path, I think the question I'll pose to you is, what cave would you want to be exiting from? Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Wahiga. Your journey from at your presentation mastery pathway led us to you had a purposeful journey where as a leader you grew and you worked on your expertise and you are better every day. So that is what something a thought leader will go in a journey and dwell deeper, and we learn to be connected and trust and have trust. So now we move on to our third speaker, who is Kanav Hurria, a lawyer by profession. He joined Toastmaster to improve his leadership skills. To introduce Kanav, let's welcome Evaluator Nelly Ayode. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Rashmi. Kanav today is going to speak on the project on the pathway Persuasive Influence. The project is to practice applying feedback and serve as a speech evaluator during a club meeting. The purpose of the speech is for Kanav to demonstrate the ability to deliver an effective, respectful speech evaluation. Kanav has asked me to look out for voice modulation. Back to you, Toastmaster Rashmi.
Thank you, Nelly. Now let's welcome with a round of applause Kanav Hurria. Kanav Hurria, Unscripted. Unscripted, Kanav Hurria. Over to you.
Is your life scripted or unscripted? which I mean, can you predict your future by or you cannot? So there are two theories that are going through. First, that everything is predictable, everything is scripted out there. You cannot change anything. Second, is you can change everything and you do not know what is going to happen. So your life is unpredictable. So I follow certain psychologists and I just wanted to tell you about those theories. First, I really love Jordan Peterson, who says in his book 12 Rules of Life that about an animal that when he gets to win, he will win first, then second, then third, and then the fourth time. When he loses, he will go fourth, third, second, and first. He keep on losing and he keeps on winning. Why is that? Because of his ego. He cannot make himself controlled because of the losses or the win. It happens to us. One loss makes us feel that we are just the saddest person. We cannot do anything. And one win makes me think we are top of the world. Yes. Does not that not happen with you? My second psychologist, which says about this, is Eric Byrne, who talks about life script. Everyone is working on a script. In your past, certain things happened which makes you do certain things, which makes your life predictable. Are you following those patterns coming to my life? If you see my life, I had been a nervous person. I cannot talk. I cannot go to someone and say hi. Cannot. So, based on that life script, I should not have been here. I could not have been talked to someone. I could not. I would have followed the same purpose and the same script given. But lives give you a chance to break that script. So the unscriptedness of life is sometimes based on your action to go out of your comfort zone. Now, coming to my third psychologist, which talks about how, which is Sigmund Freud. He talks about repetition compulsion. We are here to repeat things which we did in the past. Our past makes us stop to repeat things that happened earlier. Life is giving you a script. That's what he meant. That you are bound to do what happens earlier again. Culminating all three psychologists, they are saying that your past is so much effective and so much makes your life predictable. You cannot go out of a certain aspect of your life. Why? Because you are so much in impact of it. Can you go out of it? Yes. How? You have to know your script. To make life unscripted, you have to know your script. What were the things that your parents did? What were the things that you did as a child? And how you can improve yourself is the question. The unscriptedness of life has to be found by the script that has been followed throughout your life. I personally was a shy guy, as I already told. I could not talk. But joining Toastmasters helped me to get out of my comfort zone. And I became the area director last year, which was highly unpredictable for me. I could not follow that script. I came out of it that, that my script was based on losing. I lost so many times. I applied for president 7 times, being a president, and every time, no, 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 because your script is following you, but you have the pen to write your own script and cut the script and let the unscripted thing come out. So, my fellow Toastmasters and dear guests, you have a script that is coming back from the life. Learn from it, embrace it, and cut the paper to unscripted. That's it from my side. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Kanav, for such an amazing speech about scripting and unscripting. This reminds me of this wonderful year this year, which has scripted, I will say, so many things for me. From being, like you said, joining Leadership Speak itself is something which I know I can't say it's scripted or unscripted, but now that I'm here, I know it's scripted. You really brought little things. Joining Leadership Speak, you get opportunities to do advanced speaking with structure and clarity. We have experiences, learning experiences from global communicators on this platform. We strengthen our presence and articulation. Like, this is the first time I'm Toastmaster of the Day in Leadership Speak. So it's something that's scripted or unscripted. It's for you all to decide. And it's a continuous improvement and structured feedback that we get on this platform. And Kanav, I will say pure authenticity. You expressed authenticity, and when you expressed it with clarity, it really is building that trust. And it truly shows that you are a great leader. Congratulations on that. Now, let's move on to our fourth speaker tonight. Our next speaker is Hmok. Helene shared a powerful belief. Helene, Helene, yeah. She said, I believe thought leadership means turning ideas into action that consistently deliver real results. When others can trust and replicate those results, true influence is created. Now, I will invite her speech evaluator to introduce her speech purpose.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Helene will be speaking from the dynamic leadership path. This is level 1, and this is project number 5, which you will all remember is that project where you have to repeat or give a speech incorporating feedback from the last time. And I think the last time was about a week ago that we actually heard the first part of this. So that is what we're going to do. It's the evaluation and feedback part 2. So over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Robin. Now let's welcome Hmok. Unlocking connection and growth. Unlocking connection and growth. Helene, Hmok.
Raise your hand if you speak more than one language besides your mother tongue. Thank you. Thank you, many of you. I can communicate in Vietnamese and Spanish, and I am currently improving my English. Around 20 years ago, I learned Spanish because I pursued my bachelor's degree in physics in a Spanish-speaking country. Back then, my goal was simple. Survive by my physics classes. I learned technical vocabulary just enough to pass exams. But true comprehension, something meaningful and profound, only began a few months ago when I started learning English more intentionally. Today, I'd like to share what changed. A few months ago, I needed an English certificate for work. That was my trigger. But this time, I changed my approach. Instead of only studying grammar, I started reading books in English outside my field about art, history, health, and economics. At the beginning, it was slow, frustrating. Sometimes I understood only 20-30%, but I kept going. Every new word became a small victory, and slowly I realized learning a language is not just about passing an exam. It's about expanding how you see the world. Then something beautiful happened. As my English improved, I began connecting more with members of leadership speak. A few months ago, I depended on captions to understand conversations when I had meetings on Zoom. Now, I can follow emotions, humor, and ideas in real time. And that changed everything. Because language is not just words, it's connection. I want to thank especially Ghada, Rana, Irene, Paramjit, Sonja, Ghada, Nicole, Holmes, and many of others. Your support gave me the confidence to speak. And because of that, I no longer just understand English. I feel it. But let me be honest with you. I aimed for a 9 out of 10 on my English exam, and I scored a 3, maybe a 4. That moment was painful. I felt frustrated. I was putting in effort, but not seeing results. So I asked myself, why? Why am I not improving? And the answer was uncomfortable. I was learning English, but I was not living. I was not living it. So I changed my strategy. I started speaking every day, even when I felt embarrassed. And I recorded my voice and listened to my pronunciation. And I chose 5 to 10 advanced words daily and forced myself to use them in real conversations. I stopped translating in my head and started thinking in English. So it wasn't easy, but it worked consistently. And little by little, everything changed. I began to understand faster. I spoke with more confidence. And for the first time, I felt progress. In conclusion, learning a new language opens for both personal and professional growth. It also allows us to connect deeply with people and develop empathy by understanding different cultures. Back to you, TMOD.
A round of applause for Helene, a much multilinguistic Toastmaster. And she showcased how at Leadership Speak, making connection and building trust by having constant communication and support, how she developed and grew in the positive learning experience at Leadership Speak. Thank you, Helene. Now that we are over with our prepared speeches, we will once again we remind our guests to sign the guest books. At Leadership Speak, we build leaders who demonstrate ideas through action. I will request the guest to sign the guest book, and at a later stage, we will be connecting with them. Thank you. At Leadership Speak, we have, before that, we will call for timers report for our speakers. Let's call for timers report for our speakers. Thank you. We have our timers report. Now I will request the Zoom master to share our best effort speaker poll. Thank you. Please cast your votes for the best effort speaker. At Leadership Speak, which is a premier club for self-directed leaders, every role is evaluated and every feedback shapes growth. And to lead this segment, I will invite our general evaluator, Sonia Meindl, joining us from France. She has been Toastmaster for 3 years and is very proud member to be part of Leadership Speak. Let's welcome Sonia on our virtual stage.
Thank you.
For Sonia, thought leadership is not just ideas, but proven execution that builds trust and creates results others can follow. Over to you, Sonia, for your evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Toastmaster Rashmi, for your introduction. Greetings, dear fellow Toastmasters, and a warm welcome to our guests. I am the General Evaluator for today, and I will oversee the evaluation segment of our meeting. To begin, I will be calling on a team of seasoned Toastmasters to evaluate our speakers. I will then be calling on the role players for the reports. And finally, I will share my own overall assessment of the meeting. So let's begin. Ghada will evaluate the toast delivered by Nocawe.
Thank you.
Ghada is a member at Leadership Speak for a year and a half, and she believes that in leadership, a clear goal doesn't just direct effort, it sparks creative thinking, builds trust, and transforms a group of individuals into a team that collaborates with genuine enthusiasm. The virtual stage is yours, Ghada.
Thank you, Sonia. So, not the loudest in the room, but the useful one. So, intentionality, not recognition. Nkosi, thank you, first of all. And as you asked me to look for the flow, clarity, confidence, I would say this presentation demonstrated several strengths. You maintained a calm presence and delivered with a clear and steady voice. The flow of the sentences was smooth and well organized, contributing to overall clarity. Additionally, yes, you appeared confident, and that enhanced audience engagement. What I would recommend for improvement, the pace of delivery could be adjusted. Although there was sufficient time, you seemed slightly rushed. It'd be beneficial to allow more intentional pauses, especially when raising the toast. For instance, you say, please unmute your microphones, pause, open your camera, pause, raise your glasses, pause, and that's it. And that would improve interaction and audience participation. Overall, it was a strong presentation with a good delivery, and it can become even just more effective with some time and pauses. Thank you. Back to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Ghada. You clearly answered Nocawe's request. You brought forth the positive aspects, and you offered some improvements, clearly stating the ending part that could be improved. I think you for surely offered her positive feedback so that next time she can enhance her performance. Thank you, Ghada. Let's continue. Sandra will evaluate our Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi. Sandra is certain that thought leadership requires actually thought that moves ideas forward, deeper work than just throwing out, I think we should do that or this. Straight talk with straight constructive thought moves us all into powerful action. Over to you, Sandra.
Thank you so much, Sonia. Rashmi, first time. Congratulations. That's a big step because I know how anxiety rises when we have to take on that TMOD or the GE. They're major roles and you have to be on the whole time, and you were on the whole time. Very well done. Your caring and your thoughtfulness just comes through. It's beautiful. And you were honoring the meeting time. But of course, what would feedback be if we couldn't do our improving? So I would say that one of the areas that you can challenge yourself on is to take a little bit of a lesson from Paramjit, who has really struggled with getting his voice going the way he did today. And you might want to just study his again and notice how the tones change, whether you're sharing, instructing, teaching. So your tone could change when you're doing the little mini introductions. And when you're doing instruction, it's this and this and this and this. So that's a little challenge. That's the big challenge for you. The caution I would have in Toastmastering is that you're the MC of the meeting, so you keep it moving along, and you did that. But it's so tempting to jump in and tell your own story in between. So Paramjit spoke and you were right in there. The lovely thing is that you were engaged in listening, but it's not your job to go and give a little table topic mini speech in between about your own experience. At that point, that's not where you do it. You were engaging quite often with mini reflections, so just keep it to one line as a segue to go in. There's a balance that's in there. It was fun watching you when Kanav came up with Unscripted. Your eyes just sparkled after he finished, and you just could not help yourself because you had to go in there and get all involved. And it's such a temptation, but just really be careful. Leave the evaluating to the evaluator. Because with the reflection and the story, and then you moved into evaluation, leave that for the evaluator. Very carefully. But overall, I just thoroughly enjoyed how you handled the meeting today. You were caring, you were courageous, you were definitely prepared. You put a lot of thought into carrying this forward, and you had to be involved a week or two before in behind the scenes to make sure everybody was doing what they needed to do to support the success of the meeting. You did a beautiful job. Congratulations. Looking forward to your next attempt and delivery as Toastmaster of the Day. Thank you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra, I loved your enthusiasm and your compassion. You started right away out of the gate with acknowledging her. How difficult this is for all of us when we are the first time the Toastmaster of the Day. So that gives us all a boost and encourages us to try the second time and the third time. And for the ones who are still their first time in front, that was a big encouragement, I find. You brought good point of improvements by stating examples. For example, when you talked about the feedback, the transition, that it should be a little bit shorter. And you ended up with an overall summary. So your evaluation was clearly structured and organized. And I think you gave good, very impactful feedback to Rashmi. Thank you. Rozy will evaluate the leadership education speaker, Paramjit. Rozy shares with us the following quote from George Bernard Shaw. The greatest illusion is communication took place. Rozy believes having clarity of our thoughts is what will enable us to articulate our ideas with impact. The virtual stage is yours, Rozy.
Thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests, and especially Paramjit. What a powerful delivery. I have known you as a very good speaker, full of humor, but today you blossomed. You had so many strong points. To begin with, you took a concept that is very abstract in nature, thought leadership, but you made it so clear, so simple, practical, and memorable. In doing so, you modeled the theme, you modeled credibility. Many things stood out over and above the clarity of your message. For one, you anchored your ideas using powerful illustrations or examples, well chosen. Simon Sinek, Malala Yousafzai, Steve Jobs, clearly reinforcing your central theme that thought leaders shift perspectives through clarity. You used your own example, and no surprise, we got the humor from you, where you talked about noise and, very importantly, that ideas that are not expressed, silence does not impact, and you need to articulate clearly in order as to impact. You also had powerful language lines, don't add noise, remove confusion. Clarity is a leadership currency. Creatively used Paramjit, the acronym, to give us some strong, powerful takeaways on how we could be thought leaders. And obviously the silence one. Sandra alluded to your delivery. That stood out, your confidence, your poses, your presence. Your slides also, were aligned. They were congruent with the message because they were clear, they were clean, there was no clutter. You came through very well. And it was all, all of these were incremental elements adding to the impact. What could you do differently? And because this was so powerful, let me try and just elevate it further. One, perhaps an example that was a contrast, something that is noise, something that is ambiguous, all this language with, buzz corporate words like strategy and scientific words, perhaps would be a very good example to bring the simple out of something very ambiguous. I think that would have added value. Secondly, you chose to bring in audience engagement. That was fantastic. Maybe perhaps preparation with the Zoom master so that we can see the participant, but that example was also very well done and time very well managed. So all in all, Paramjit, today you were very powerful, brought this abstract idea very clearly. You had so many strong points, from presence to clarity to simplicity to examples. And if you can enhance it with a contrast and bring your audience to light as well. Very well done. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm clearer on thought leadership. Thank you very much. And back to you, Madam G.
Thank you, Rozy. Your evaluation was indeed very effective and clear as you presented positive points that stood out for you. And you mentioned the examples of Malala or the acronym PARAM, P-A-R-M. And despite Paramjit's high-level performance, you still found points of improvements, such as the collaboration with the Zoom master. And just be cautious maybe of your allocated time, as you went a little bit over. But again, there's always so much to learn from you, Rozy, from your evaluation. Thank you so much. We will continue with the evaluations for the prepared speeches. Terrence will evaluate our first speaker, Ray. For Terrence, thought leadership is an essential aspiration for every leader, requiring the continuous development of expertise and judgment to influence outcomes while setting an exemplary high standard. Over to you, Terrence.
Thank you, General Evaluator. And thank you, Ray, for a thoughtful and engaging presentation. What's next for the teen in the bubble? Let me begin by what worked particularly well for you in this delivery. First, in your structure, which was clear and effective, you presented a well-organized plan for your son's preparation for college, making it easy for us to follow along. You went further and broke it down into 3 key areas, which I observed: academics, activities, and athletics. And this gave the speech a logical flow and clarity. The second thing I observed was your message came through strongly. You had asked me to look out for poise, and your project also requires that of me. The intention behind your plan was unmistakable. You are preparing your son for a future that is secure, independent, and resilient, whether or not you'd be present. And that emotional underpinning, that bit, added depth and made your speech even more meaningful and relatable. All of us are going to make this plan at one point or the other, whether for our own children or for people under our care. And third, your content, it was specific and engaging because you shared real examples. You drew it from your own experience. You even went ahead and gave us examples of how your son has attempted in some areas, for instance, his culinary skills, his involvement in swimming, and you brought this out authentically. This enabled the audience to connect with you. And your key message that spread throughout your delivery was about preparing your son for the uncertain future. With such a project, there's bound to be an area where you can improve. These are my observations. One, it's the tonal variety. As you're speaking about your plan, you can take that authoritative voice. You can take that authoritative tone. When you're talking about responding to or taking feedback about the areas where there are gaps or where there could be gaps, you can take a tone that resonates with a father talking about the son. That soft, excited, mindful tone. And secondly, on poise, during the impromptu segment especially, while the disruptions did not phase you off, there was an opportunity to elevate your speech by slowing down and fully owning each moment, because this would enhance how we saw the delivery come out. And to challenge yourself, you might consider incorporating visual aids in your speech. For instance, a Gantt chart, because this is a project, and later on after the speech, handing out the notes on your plan, so that we can be dynamic. Overall, this was a well-structured, meaningful, and relatable presentation. And you supported it with clear thinking and a personal foundation. Well done on those areas, and I challenge you to improve on the areas that I noted. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Terrence. Let me say upfront, I really appreciated that when the speaker was introduced, how clearly you actually explained to the audience how his project, that it actually contains 2 parts. It is one, the speech, and then the people who will ask questions of possible disruptions. I think that was a great for us audience to understand what is now actually coming. You clearly, I appreciate also that you clearly started out with this structure. You started out with 3 points, the structure, the flow of the message, and you ended up with the personal engagement that you liked. And how he connected with the audience. You ended with the improvement that he can make via vocal variety and maybe challenge himself also visual aids. You might watch out for the allocated time, as we saw the red light. So yes, there are some areas for you where you can maybe narrow down your evaluation even a bit further. But I'm sure your feedback was invaluable for Ray. Thank you. We continue with Nelly Jane, who will evaluate our second speaker, Wahiga. Nelly Jane believes that thought leadership is when your message doesn't end with your speech. It continues in someone else's action. How powerful. The virtual stage is yours, Nelly Jane.
Thank you so much, Sonja, our general evaluator. See things differently. Create realities. See the world and see possibility. Wahiga Gichinga. Use speech through a different lens clearly delivered its key message. That growth begins when we embrace different perspectives, remain open, and allow our experiences to shape us. Your reflection on this path, walking alongside with others, sharing dreams, failures, doubts, is really powerful. It reminded us that while we may have similar or different pathways, it is our unique perspective that defines our stories. And in this Toastmaster journey, we are not alone. One of your greatest strengths is your ability to connect with your audience. Your story on the cave was powerful. You told us the story at the start of your speech, and it served as a strong anchor, and you even brought it back beautifully at the end. Your final line, what cave would you want to be exiting from? That line was impactful and reflective. It didn't just conclude your speech, it invited us to pause and think. And that moment strengthened your credibility. Your vocals and body language were also commendable. You expressed your ideas with clarity and intention, making your message more engaging and easier to follow. In terms of flow, which you asked me to look for, your structure worked well, especially how you introduced the cave at the beginning and returned to it at the end. That created a satisfying sense of completeness. With a bit more refinement on the transitions, like incorporating your speech title, your ideas can flow even more smoothly from one to the next. Now, for your next speeches, first, for online speeches, I encourage you to adjust your zone framing. There are moments when I cannot see the upper part of your head. A simple adjustment like tilting your camera a bit back down or stepping back will enhance your presence. Your background also complements your speech presentation, so you might consider to explore another background like a plainer or simpler one, or a more intentional background that further highlights your speech. Second is time management. You still had time left, and that's an opportunity. Use those time to deepen your message and leave us with an even greater emotional impact. Now, my call for action to you, Wahiga, is to continue building your strong foundation. Refine transition, maximize your time, and fine tune your Zoom presence so that your message will land with a fuller power. And for us, the audience, let us not just walk our paths. Let's actively choose how we see them. See things differently, create realities, see the world, and see possibility. Wahiga, your journey is a meaningful one, and that message is impactful. Congratulations on completing your journey. And back to you, General Evaluator Sonia.
Thank you, Nelly Jane. You presented your evaluation with great clarity in highlighting Wahiga's strengths in her performance and how she engaged with us, the audience. You ended up with an encouragement in how to elevate her Zoom framing. And may I add to this point, if it wasn't mentioned, Wahiga, you can maybe also move, since you were talking about a time frame, that you can also move a little bit from stage, on the stage, that you can move the stage better. And at one point you were talking about your mentor. Maybe you can also change voice and add more vocal variety to that when you add role playing. Nelly, overall, you did go to your next level evaluation when you encouraged Wahiga to step more out of her comfort zone, and you really pointed out very fine points to evaluate her speech even further. Thank you so much. Our following evaluator is Nelly. Nelly will evaluate our third speaker, Kanav. Nelly is the opinion that thought leaders are trusted individuals who inspire us to take creative actions within a team. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you very much to General Evaluator Sonja. Kanav, well done. This is a great improvement from your last speech. My takeaway from your speech is your opening captured our attention with the word interplay. Your script, unscripted, predict. Your speech had clarity. You spoke about how you were unable to communicate before you joined Toastmasters and how Toastmasters has helped you to communicate better. You cited 3 psychologists or experts, people with expert opinion on the subject. This gave you credibility. You cited Peterson, Freud, and Eric. I didn't get the other name. This gave you credibility for your speech. And you stated how you use their content to help you communicate. Because this is persuasive influence, I tried to look at this speech from a persuasive perspective. Your structure had a persuasive technique. You were logical, your speech flowed logically, your body and introductions were very well organized, and it helped us follow your story. You used logos. The reasoning behind your story was very well crafted, and you put a lot of emotion in it. And you also told us about your personal story, about how you were area director and how you tried 7 times to be a president. It showed your vulnerability. You used your pathos very well. Your vocal variety was great. I must say that you put in a lot of effort in trying to put in vocal variety. This was one of the areas you told me to look out for, and it was very effective. You presented your speech very effectively with clear argument that supported strong evidence by engaging your delivery. I'd like to ask you to work on enriching your vocabulary. You seem to struggle with the flow of the speech. All in all, I like that your speech was clear, that you used a persuasive technique, and you shared your vulnerability. Well done, Kanav, and I'm looking forward to hear your next speech to build on this one. Back to you, General Evaluator Sonja.
Thank you very much, Nelly. Your evaluation was clearly structured. I always appreciate and learn a lot from you. You brought forth the positive points by bringing clear examples and how his performance enhanced his credibility. You also, very importantly, reflected on the pathway and how the speaker applied aspects of it. And you ended up with encouragement how he can improve his pronunciation. If I may please add on, to enhance further his Zoom framing, the speaker might choose to stand up to at least be, so we can at least see his upper body and more of his hand gestures. And to look straight in the camera, most of the time, of course, if given, it appears to me he was a little bit looking, Kanav was a little bit looking to the side. So that would be my additional points of improvement. But overall, thank you so much for your evaluation. Our final evaluator for the prepared speeches is Robin. Robin will evaluate our fourth speaker, Haylin. Robin shares that while he is growing young at Toastmasters, he yet learns something new every meeting. He says, "You notice thought leadership when it is missing." Over to you, Robin.
Thank you so much, Sonia. And yes, I think we all learned a lot today about what it takes to learn a foreign language from Helene. We heard this talk before, and now we've had it stepped up this week. Helene, you asked me to focus on two things, and the one was, of course, clarity. I must tell you, one of the things I'm scared of at Leadership Speak is we have so many people with so many strange accents to me, and whether I will understand. And when I first heard you some time ago, I didn't understand much of what you were saying. Today, I understood every word. So clarity is without doubt there. And you achieved a level of clarity for which you must be truly applauded and congratulated. It cannot be easy. And so I think that is the one thing that I noted. The other, of course, is that you asked me to comment on is your audience engagement or audience presence. And I think it came out in what you said, that you only attain fluency when you can understand emotions. I never really thought about that before, but that's true. When we can convey emotions and understand the emotions when somebody else is speaking to us, that is so vital and important. And I've always thought it would be lacking in a Zoom environment, but it's not. I actually felt that the way you made me feel today was if I could, I would jump over the Atlantic and give you a big hug. There was a definite, strong emotional connection there, and your presence and the way you spoke to us, the way you engaged with us, made me feel really quite special. And I think everybody here would have felt special who heard your speech today. You had very good use of language, intentional use of language. And what I would say was I have to make a point of improvement. Number one, believe in yourself. You've got this. You can do it. You've been on this journey. But the only second thing I would mention is last time Hannah said you didn't use the time you had. I think you spoke for about 6 minutes. This time you used all of your time and you looked as though you're running out of time like I am. So just look at your structure as well. But overall, absolutely fantastic speech. Well done. Thank you. Thank you so much, Shirley. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Robin. You started out with your appreciation for her efforts that she made, and I completely agree with you. You continued by how much she improved on her pronunciation, and of course, which is very valuable for Hylene because she's working very hard on it, and she would like to have that feedback from us, how much she has improved. You continued with how she engaged with us in the audience, how she not only made you personally feel, but for sure many of us, and how we really could relate to that. And you encouraged her with moving forward and a personal note from yourself. So I think you provided a lot of encouragement for her and information that she can improve further and make her next performance even better. Thank you so much, Robin. Now that we have completed the evaluation section, I will call on our technical team. May I request our timer to please share their times in the chat. Let's move on while we await the timer's report. We will hear from our grammarian, Hylene, again, who has been carefully listening to the proper language and use and noted areas of improvement, including the word of the day. What did we do well, and how can we improve? The virtual stage is you, Hylene.
The word of the day, credibility, was used many times by several speakers and members during the meeting. TMOD, Paramjit, Gichinga, Rozy, Rana, Jen, Sonja, Nelly, Ayodo, and everyone is encouraged to use this word during and outside the meeting. Besides, there were many quotes and thoughts and saying that I like, but due to the limit time, I only mentioned a few. Influence begins when others trust your perspective. If you inform, people gain knowledge. If you teach, they gain skills. But if you shift perspective, you become a thought leader. Better questions lead to better thinking. Don't react immediately. Observe, reflect, and then respond. Parents don't choose the path. We have prepared the traveler. The first big decisions doesn't define life, but it shapes its direction. Confidence is not natural. It is built through practice. Toastmaster does not remove fear. It teaches you how to manage it. Your past may shape you, but it does not have to define you. And a simple introduction can carry respect and intention. Control of pace is control your impact. A question can be more powerful than an answer. Vocabulary brings life to your experience. With this, I conclude my report. Thank you. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Hylene. Congratulations to you when you started out introducing your grammarian role at the beginning of the meeting, because you experienced some technical issues, but you were very quick to correcting it and back right with us. What I noticed in the beginning, I don't know, was it connected to the technical issue? You disappeared behind the camera. So for next time, please note that you can stay on while you explain your grammarian role. Now that we have completed this section, I would like to please call on the Zoom master to launch the poll for Best Evaluator. Thank you so much. The poll has been launched. While we are waiting for everyone to submit their vote, I would like to conclude with my overall evaluation. First of all, I want to express my great appreciation to all the members here who have taken double roles. Ghada, Nelly Jane, Joyce, and Hylene, and hopefully I didn't forget anyone. But it was quite challenging. And also Vinod, who jumped in at the last minute to help out with Ray's project. Thank you so much to all of you to make this evening really flow, despite your intense workload. May I say a few words to our technical team. Ghada, I really appreciate you as such a greeter. You welcomed everyone, all members and also our guests, with a very genuine smile and a warm welcome. You always have a beautiful aura around you. I feel always very, if I can say, cozy when I tune into you. And I'm sure other people can feel the same, the positive energy that you radiate out. Now, Nelly Jane, you also were not only a speaker, but you were also the meeting SAA. You started off strong and had our meeting with a good start with your vibrant energy, successfully displaying vocal variety. Thank you to our timer Irene, with your clear presence, explaining your role and your own time reporting of the timer's report in the Zoom chat. And especially, let's come to Joyce. Joyce, you were Zoom master and PR master today at the same time. What a task. Have experienced firsthand behind in the background, it is very challenging to perform those two roles smoothly at the same time. There were some hiccups here and there, but I believe it was also because we had technical, I think it was related to Hylene's technical issues that she had in the beginning, but overall you managed so beautifully to keep us all in a flow and moving forward. Now, I felt the meeting was flowing great. I felt welcome. I feel our guests were always addressed. And especially in the beginning, there was great effort made from our experienced Toastmasters before the meeting began to check our visuals, to check our sound, that we start out with the right tone. I believe that we clearly demonstrated credibility today by working together, by showing up. And that way we build further trust for each other. This concludes my general evaluation segment for today. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi.
Thank you to our General Evaluator, Sonja. We have heard insightful evaluations and gained valuable takeaways. And this we will apply to our next speeches and our next role. Thank you for that, Toastmaster Sonja. And as we move on, let's hear from the thought of the day from our Toastmaster Vinod Panikar. At Leadership Speak, we are truly global. We are here from 19 countries and we have global connections. Let us now invite Toastmaster Vinod Panikar joining us from Dubai to share his thoughts on today's theme. Toastmaster Panikar. A Toastmaster since 2015, he is a thought leader in the field of B2B sales and helps build sales systems and architecture. He is working as sales director for a packaging company in Dubai. A thought leader is known for knowing something, learning continuously on the subject. Over to you, Toastmaster Vinod Panikar.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Rashmi. Thought leadership is about trust, intention, curiosity, influence, all these things we heard from the time the meeting has started. If there is a thought leader, then there should be something called as thought followers. So a thought leader is not a thought follower, just a food for thought. What I feel about the theme is I will take the two people that our education speaker mentioned, Simon Sinek, and the second was Steve Jobs. And I will use two other people to link this theme. First, Philip Kotler, and second, Michelangelo. For me, thought leadership in action, when I go out, when I see a thought leader, what should I feel? Or why should you be a thought leader? Simon Sinek asked this question, right? So I will say to build your own brand. A thought leader, Elon Musk or anyone you think, they are building their own brand. And remember what Philip Kotler said, the purpose of brand is to charge premium, increase your value in the world. The second is Steve Jobs, which our education speaker said that he made sure that with less thing, he makes an amazing product. Somebody asked Michelangelo, how did you make David? He said, I just chipped off what was not David. So a thought leader is someone who finds his voice in the world of noise and shares it relentlessly. So I give you all this challenge today. Find your spot or find your voice in your zone and share it with your sphere of influence. The person who started this movement of thought leadership, Matt Church, said, in your own network, find 50 people. In public network, find 150 people. Share your thoughts to these people and charge them. Sell your thoughts. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you to Vinod for sharing such a beautiful thought leadership theme on his thoughts on thought leadership theme. He brought the concept of thought follower. That's something very interesting to take on. And now I would like our Zoom master to let's recognize our excellence, and I will allow Zoom master to share the best effort speaker and best effort evaluator. The best effort evaluators, DTM Sandra Valks. A round of applause for DTM Sandra. And the best effort evaluator, DTM Rozy Rana. Round of applause. And best evaluator, Toastmaster Terrence for, is it 3? Is it? Best speaker, Toastmaster Paramjit Singh. Round of applause for this best speaker. So today we are having a tie. Okay, a round of applause for DTM Sandra. So let's, now I would like to share my closing thought on the theme. How we are applying thought leadership at our club, Leadership Speak. At Leadership Speak, we promote thought leadership by setting a high bar for clarity, originality, and execution. Members present their ideas, apply them in real context, and share frameworks others can use. Like today, we had a framework of Param, because leadership must be demonstrated and not declared. So as we begin, we don't just aim to speak, but we aim to contribute, to apply and build trust. And at this time, I would like to thank all my role players, all the guests for participating and being part of this meeting. It has been my pleasure to serve as Toastmaster of the Day and share the perspectives on thought leadership. And because in the end, it's not about how much we say, but it's the value that we create. Thank you. And now I will invite our acting president tonight, who is going to be Toastmaster Terrence. He's been appointed by our president to come and play the role of acting president, Toastmaster Terrence. Let's welcome Terrence on the virtual stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Rashmi. And thank you for a well-run meeting. Congratulations on that. At this point, we want to interact with our guests. And so if you are visiting us for the very first time, this is a chance where we get to interact with you. Right. So if you're visiting us for the very first time, please, you can turn on your video and we will interact. We'll have a short interaction with you just to get to know about you and about your plans going forward, especially pertaining to the club. May I request Sharon? Sharon, is this your first time at this meeting? Can you unmute yourself? Can you address us? Sharon has left.
Yes, thank
Sharon?
you very much. Actually,
Welcome.
this is not my first time to join in. I usually join in and listen in. Actually, it is always a privilege to join Leadership Speak meeting. I get to fish a lot. I get to learn a lot. And I'm so delighted. I'm also a Toastmaster from Uganda. Specifically, I belong to Lubowa Toastmasters Club. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to introduce myself. I've learned a lot as a leader, especially from Toastmaster, I'm forgetting the name, Majid.
Paramjit?
Yes. I've gotten to learn that if you want to excel as a leader, you could focus on one thing and make sure that you make it perfect, other than focusing on a lot and you end up confused. Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Sharon, and thank you for sharing your takeaway. Please send our greetings and our regards to Lubowa Toastmasters, one of the past members, or one of your members, that is Toastmaster.
Baron?
There is a Toastmaster, Baron Ochola, yes. He's a past member of this club. So pass the regards, and we look forward to interacting more. And if and when you are able to join us, please join us as many times as you wish to join our meetings, learn from us, and let us grow together in this space. If you'd like to go a step further, you can fill in the details if you haven't in the guest book, and we will get back to you. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Right. Next we have Vanessa White. Are you able to unmute yourself and say hi?
Hi, good day, morning, evening, wherever you are. My name is Vanessa White. I normally get an email in my inbox from this club, and in the past I've always missed the timing, but in the last few weeks I've been able to catch the time and join the meetings, which I have thoroughly enjoyed. And today is no exception. I would like to also endorse the first educational speaker. I would not want to give the abattoir version of his name, so I would leave that. But I certainly enjoy his presentation. I am a Toastmaster from MNI Speakers Club, and that's a club in the Caribbean, specifically the island of Montserrat. And I would certainly encourage other members. Actually, I was trying to get another member to join the meeting, but unfortunately, he was at work. And I know he would have liked to join this meeting, because for me, it was intellectually stimulating. I actually found the evaluations to be well done. I've learned from them as well. I really had a hard time picking a evaluator. I thought they were well done. So that's what I would like to share today. Thank you so much for having me. Oh, and one more thing. I'm not sure how I can get my name changed in the emails that's sent to me. It always comes out as WHOYE. So when I come on the call, I have to change it to White. I'm not quite sure. I actually put that in the comments in the last time I was here, but for some reason it's coming in my inbox wrong. And when I join, that's the name it's putting there. So that's what I'm sharing today. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Vanessa. For that issue raised, are you able to respond and leave us a comment in the
Yes, I did
guest
that
book?
the
Because
last
I know
time.
that.
Yes.
Oh, you also did that last time.
Last time, yes. And it's
sorry about that. I will follow up with the club executive and see how we can handle that amicably. Thank you. And please, as I told Sharon, you can always join us subsequently. For any member who may miss this meeting, we always have a recording on YouTube. This is the live version. He might miss this, but he can always catch up with the live recording or the recording on YouTube. You can visit our YouTube channel and you will get this and so many other videos.
How do I get access to that?
All right, I will request the Zoom master. Can you get the link and share it in the chat? Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you in the coming meetings. Should you want to join us, please also indicate that in the guest book. And finally, Winnie, are you able to unmute yourself?
Hello, everyone, and greetings. I'm joining in from Nairobi, Kenya. I've visited quite a number of times. I'm a visiting Toastmaster from Empowering Ladies Toastmasters. It's an online club, and I just love the flow of this meeting. Given that it is an advanced Toastmasters meeting, I really enjoy the first part, the education session, as well as the evaluation of each evaluator. And the general evaluator did a wonderful job. All the speakers, the evaluators, the role takers are Toastmaster of the day. The speeches were inspiring and thought-provoking. This was a session well done, as always. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Winnie. And please also pass our regards to the online ladies club. Is it Empower Ladies Toastmasters?
Empowering Ladies Toastmasters.
Yes, please pass our regards and have them join us, because these sections are priceless. You can also share the recordings with them in case they're not able to join at this time. And please keep joining us for our meetings and make that decision when you're ready. You can always join us as a member of Leadership Speak. Thank you all, and thank you to those who have invited these guests. At this point, I want to hand it back to the Toastmaster of the day to adjourn the meeting. Toastmaster of the day, back to you.
Thank you to our presiding officer, Terrence. I will now like to end with last line. Lead with clarity, build with consistency, earn trust, and be a thought leader. Thank you. I will now invite Zoom Master to stop the recording and YouTube live streaming. And this meeting is adjourned to 9th May 26. Thank you.